let's go through the conferences here. Big 12, SEC, ACC, Big 10, and we'll throw any other mid-majors on there. And let's talk about which teams have a legit shot. And that means like you and college basketball fans and me are actually considering, yeah, like I got this team probably in the Final Four. Am I going to have them in the championship? Am I going to have them winning the championship? We're not talking about, oh, well, if, things go right, could this team be it? No. There's probably, in my opinion, 10 teams or less that can actually win the national title. I don't know how many teams you would put it at, but I think this could be a fun exercise here as we get everybody set for March. What do you think?
Yeah, twist my arm as a college basketball-aholic. Sure, let's talk hoops, shall we?
All right, so let's start in with the conference that has been the strongest all season, and that is the Big 12, where we look right now. We've got, right now, 4 teams in the top 10, and we've got 6 teams that are ranked. You got 4 teams in the Big 12 that have 20 wins or more. So, Brad, you tell me, or you name me one team, maybe that's a better way to do it. We go 1 for 1 until one of us disagrees. Give me a team in the Big 12 that can legitimately win the national championship. You go first.
All right, let's go with the top of my bracket big board list right now at thegamingjuice.com. I'm updating that bad boy every single day right now through Selection Sunday, projecting the NCAA tournament field. It's got to be Arizona. I don't know. They skirted by last night against BYU. Both teams wounded. Koa Pete out for a few days. Hopefully going to be back next week with that lower body injury. Arizona's a team don't have a whole lot of depth. But their starting 5, when healthy, is outstanding with Mount Creasa there. Owaka's a dirty work underneath there at the 4. Jaden Bradley's very strong in the back. El Doroso coming off the bench, also very strong and sharpshooter from the outside. And Koa Pete can do a little bit of everything. I like the construct of this team. The side that I really worry about is their 3-point shooting ability. Del Orso, like I said, can nail those on occasion. Bradley, like I also said, can nail those on occasion, but collectively, they're only subpar in that category. They don't have a lot of depth. So that's an issue. So if injuries do mount up here down the home stretch, I don't think they're going to live up to the expectations. But right now, Arizona firmly in the mix as a team that could potentially cut down the nets in Indy.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. Obviously, they were undefeated up until a week ago. I'm going to go with the team that's maybe got the best defense in all the country, number 2 in the country right now, led by their incredible freshman standout guard, Kingston Flemings, with a bunch of guys from the Final Four squad last year, and Milos Uzan and Emmanuel Sharp, and of course, Kelvin Sampson, one of the best coaches in the entire country. Give me the Houston Cougars as a legit team that can win the national championship. I don't think you'll have any qualms with that one.
No, I have an 8-1 ticket at BetMGM. I took out a couple of weeks ago for them to win the Natty. So you and I are very much on the same page there. How about Iowa State? UConn losing last night. I moved the Huskies down to the 2-seed line, and I moved up the Cyclones, the last number 1 seed. A team that, they've had their struggles. See the TCU game on the road on occasion this season. But they got a very cohesive and veteran group, especially that backcourt's outstanding. Got, obviously, Lipsy and Jefferson. Momcilovic is one of the best sharpshooters in college basketball. And the role players are really stepped up. Buchanan has. Heisey has. That has been a very impressive group here, to say the least. They can defend with some of the best. They're very efficient offensively, not a lot of weaknesses. So Iowa State definitely on the list of a possible national title winner.
All right, one more for me from the Big 12. And I know that I've talked a bunch of smack on him, but you can't ignore the upside if he does decide he wants to play in the NCAA tournament. Darren Peterson immediately gives Kansas a legit chance to win the national championship. They've been a top 10 team now for the last couple of weeks. And so as much as I might not believe it, we can't ignore the upside that Kansas has. If Darren Peterson is a committed player for them in the big dance, they can absolutely win the whole freaking thing. They got Bill Self. They've got Darren Peterson. And that's not to ignore the other great players that they have on this squad. guys like Flory Badunga, who is just an incredible double-double machine for them. Of course, with Melvin Council Jr., a guy that I was calling games for when I was calling games for LIU. He was with Wagner a couple of years ago, not to mention Trey White. They've got some great players off the bench. They've got some electric guard play, but if Darren Peterson is locked in and committed, Kansas can win the whole thing. You agree?
Yeah, that's just a big $64,000 question. Darren Peterson, do you want to step up and not play soft? Man the hell up.
Let's move on quickly to the SEC here, Brad. And since you went 2 for the Big 12 and I went 2 for the Big 12, I'll let you go first here again. Teams that can legitimately win the national championship out of the SEC, who do you have?
I have one on the list, and that's it. It's the Florida Gators. And I do have a ticket out on them. I booked that at BetMGM 2 weeks ago. It's 16-1 for Florida to win back-to-back titles. Again, they got the best front court in college basketball. They're just scoring early and often, blitzing teams off the jump. The backcourt's starting to rise to the occasion. Boogie Fland's a little bit erratic, but Xavier Lee, man, Xavier Lee is really turning up his game. If they can get a consistent 20 combined points out of those guys on a game-in, game-out basis to go along with Chindy Lou, to go along with Thomas Hawk, to go along with Alex Condon. Florida, they got the goods, man. They got the chops across the board. They're definitely a national title contender, which would be something going back-to-back.
And I don't disagree. I don't disagree that they're the only team. Bama can't win it.
Yeah.
Nope. As much as they pull off that great win last night, the offense, they have no defense. They'll get knocked out by any team that has a decent halfway or even an elite defense that can score 65, 70 points. Bama will fizzle out quickly. Arkansas, they're too inconsistent. And then everybody else, again, you'd be asking for a miracle. Maybe earlier in the season, we were talking about Vanderbilt undefeated at one point. They have fallen from graces. So I agree with you. It's just Florida in the SEC. Let's move to the ACC, Brad. And I'll hit the layup here. Give me the Duke Blue Devils, number 3 team in the country. They have been incredible all season. They've got the ranked wins to prove for it. They've dominated in conference play. They're 24-2, only 1 loss in the conference, and that was to a fully healthy North Carolina squad. The only other loss this year was by 1 point against Texas Tech. Cameron Boozer's probably going to win the Wooden Award. They've got shooters galore. They got defense. Their defense is absolutely remarkable, and it doesn't get talked about enough. Routinely holding teams under 60 points. So for me, it's an easy one. Duke Blue Devils.
Yeah, just to piggyback on Duke real quick. Over the last 30 days, Pat, they are top 10 in defensive efficiency and offensive efficiency. That is a hallmark of a team that has the characteristics of potentially cutting down the net. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't have another ACC team. I mean, there may be some people that make an argument for Louisville because of Michael Brown, his dominance, but that team turns over the rock too much, and they're just adequate. They're subpar on the glass. I don't think they have the goods. Carolina certainly doesn't, because we don't know what's going to happen with Caleb Wilson. Is he going to be ready for the NCAA tournament? Virginia is a bit of a dark horse, and they played really well on the road and in neutral environments as well. 10-2 record in road neutrals on the year. Outside of that, NC State, no. I just, SMU, no.
No for North Carolina?
Nobody. Oh, hell no. Absolutely not on North Carolina. No, they can't play strong enough defense for me to trust them. They don't have depth in the front court out of Vizar and Caleb Wilson, and they're just not healthy right now. So, no, Carolina definitely doesn't make my list. So, do the Tar Heels make yours?
No, but I was wondering if you were going to put them in there if we get a fully healthy Caleb Wilson and Henry Vizar for the tournament.
No, can't do it.
Yeah, and again, we've been really trying to make sure that we toe the baseline here and not do the whole, well, if this and that. And so I think if we're holding it to a strict standard, which teams can legitimately win a national title, I agree with you. No Virginia, no North Carolina. We're steadfast on that. All right, finally, let's hit the loaded Big Ten here. And Brad, since I gave Duke, I'll let you go first here, because I think it's either gonna be 3 or 4 teams coming out of the Big Ten. Who are you going to submit first?
Women slam dunk Michigan. Obviously, we're going to see what they're really made of against Duke in a neutral court environment in D.C. Coming up on Saturday. More on that game tomorrow right here on BetMGM tonight. We're going to break down the nitty-gritty, give you our picks, and some hypotheticals on whoever wins that thing and the fallout on the bracket big board. But they're the one-on-ones. They got no weaknesses. One of the most electric offenses I've ever seen. They defend. They have size with Mara. They have depth as well. The guard play has exceeded expectations. U of M all day.
Yep. And you're not going to get a debate, or you're not going to get a disagreement from anybody in the country on whether or not Michigan can win the national championship. I will go ahead and submit your ILL, the Illinois Fighting Illini. I mean, why not, man? They've got 5 ranked wins this season. They're number 10 in the country. They're 22-5. And here's their 5 losses. They lost to Bama early on when Bama was healthy, and they lost by 4. They did lose to UConn again early on when UConn didn't look fraudulent. Lost to Nebraska by 3. And then these 2 losses in overtime to Michigan State on the road, who's number 10. And yeah, the home loss to Wisconsin. By the way, Wisconsin also beat Michigan. Keaton Wagler, I don't have to sing his praises to you, man. He's one of the best players in the country, probably going to go top 10 in the NBA draft. But not only that, they get the balanced scoring. You know, again, you look at their scoring leaders in each game. And he had some nights it could be Stojakovic, some nights it could be Mirkovic, some nights it could be Boswell, some nights it could be Davis. Like, they get it from everybody and anybody. They are such a balanced, complete team. All 5 starters, or 4 out of the 5 starters, averaging in double figures. And they've also got 7 players that average at least 4.5 rebounds. Like, man, this team, everybody does everything. And yeah, Illinois can legitimately win the national title, in my opinion.
Yes, and I appreciate that. They have the front court depth. They have the size. They have the guard play. They are number 1 all time, folks, according to Kim Pom, in offensive rating. That's how special of a season they are having. Nobody in the history of Kim Pomeroy has had a higher offensive rating on a points per possession basis in Illinois. Last night against USC in the first half, they posted the highest ever half of basketball in offensive rating with 1.50 points per possession. And that's against a USC team that many bracketologists have as a member of the last 4 in. Illinois is for real, for real. All right. Any other teams I'm going to add to the list? Yeah, get out of here with that, Combs. Sorry. I don't have anybody else. I don't think anybody else in the Big Ten can win it. I really don't. Are you going to argue Purdue? Because I'm not, because I don't have the athleticism. So go ahead and take the reins if you want to here, but I'm done.
Well, I think I was going to say I'm out on Nebraska. They got off to a tremendous start. You said that they could be the Indiana football of this year earlier in the season. I'm assuming you have kind of fallen off in thinking that about the Huskers. I agree. I don't think they can win it. And look, I've talked some smack about Purdue this year. I still think they've got the talent. I think they've got the scores. I think they've got the experience to win a national championship. I think they could make a run. I mean, yes, they've got a couple of disappointing losses this year. UCLA on the road by 2, Indiana on the road by 5. Their other 3 losses, Iowa State, they did get smashed by them at home. Got thoroughly beaten by Michigan the other day at home, and they lost to your Illini at home. But man, I don't know, man. When this team peaks, though, they're still one of the best teams in the country. And whether it's Braden Smith, Fletcher Lawyer, Trey Kaufman-Renn, we saw him go bananas against Michigan the other day. They've got the experience. They've got the killers to do it. You're arguing they don't have the athleticism. I think Matt Painter, as much flack as I've given him, he's a hell of a head coach that knows how to coach in March, despite their shortcomings. I would put Purdue on this list. I think they would be the last team in the Big Ten, and it's borderline. But I think that I think there's going to be a lot of people that put Purdue to win a national title, and I don't know if they'll be mine. But I can absolutely see this team in the Final Four. I can see them cutting down the nets in April. But if you disagree, we could leave them off the list.
I disagree, and the Spartans also don't make the cut.
Yeah, no shot. I'm pushing Michigan State. Okay. All right, we'll leave Purdue off the list. If they're in the Final Four, though, Brad, you may owe the Boilermaker Nation an apology. All right, we got to take a break here. That's all we have, though. Those eight teams. That's it. Arizona, Houston, Iowa State, Kansas, Florida, Duke, Michigan, Illinois. Only 8 teams, in our opinion, have a legit shot of winning a national championship.